Okay, if you're watching this on YouTube, you saw the YouTube title. You know what I really want to talk about. And I will get to it. But first, I have to do some of the usual fare. Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. And let's get to my low, my high, and my act of kindness. I'll do my act of kindness first, which was I helped my mom watch my nephews yesterday. And my low and my high is my low is I waited 25 years to finally be able to do something. And my high is yesterday I finally was able to do it. I will explain more momentarily. But first, I have to talk about Hot Ones. Because, for all intents and purposes, it actually was a very good episode of Hot Ones for sure. You know, mad props to David Duchovny for honestly doing a great job taking on the wings of death. As well as learning a lot. Like, he's promoting a new album called Prince of Pieces, which, no kidding, came to him in a dream. He talked about how he wrote a thesis at age 21 about Beckett and comparing that to what he feels about Beckett at age 60. They talked about having cheese pierogies from Vasalco, playing baseball in a cemetery using graves as like the bases, and bartending at Radio City Music Hall, and he actually saw Prince doing a sound check. Like, come on, that's awesome. They talked about like the freakiest, like, because actually, one really cool thing, again, I never watched the X-Files. However, I do know that for the time, they had to use a lot of practical effects. And, I mean, listen, yes, using CGI, there is, value to doing that. There is, makes things easier, makes things look detailed. But there's a certain warmth to using practical effects and making costumes and filming scenes and such. And so they talked about how the costumes were, practical effects. And the freakiest costume that David Duchovny ever saw on set was like fighting a monster that was made out of like repressed desires. He talked about the time he sat next to Shaquille O'Neal at a Lakers game and how they both say like, David Duchovny says, I don't watch the Lakers unless Shaq is playing, and Shaq is saying, I don't watch the X-Files unless David Duchovny's on, which is actually really cool. Come on, you gotta sit next to Shaq in his Laker days, man. That's cool. He talked about when he was a TA at Yale, in which he was described as too much of a teacher to be an actor, but too much of an actor to be a teacher, if that makes sense. Honestly, I'm just more impressed that he got to go to Yale, dude. David Duchovny is also a novelist, and, he's a novelist in real life, but he also got to be a novelist on the show Californication. They talked about how he played in the MTV Rock and Jock games, like, softball and basketball and such. He talked about how he binged the Larry Sanders Show, and he gave advice for someone who's in their 20s. Embrace the shadow, embrace the opposite, listen, throughout life, you're going to want to do something. And everyone's going to tell you that you have to absolutely do it this way. And sometimes that's 100% true. If you do it this particular way, you will find success. You will be able to do the thing you want to do. But more often than not, people tend to find success by doing the exact opposite, going against the grain. Like, see what other people are doing or not doing and do that. And you know what? That works. Which is honestly a really great segue into the movie I saw yesterday. So, a bit of a story for you all. The year is 2002. Jackass the movie is released in the theaters. And I'm unable to see the film because it is rated R and I am therefore too young to go see it on the big screen. Fast forward to 2006. Jackass number 2 is released in theaters. And second verse, same as the first. I wouldn't be 17 until very late in 2006. I mean, could I have probably seen it then? Maybe. And I guess hindsight 2020, I'm sure my dad probably would have been okay with going to see it, but I didn't want to. I mean, my mom, no. My mom would never let me see the first 2 Jackass movies on the big screen when they first came out. And to my parents' credit, that's actually good parenting. I mean, listen, if you're actually going to take a child to see a Jackass movie, just be careful about that. And fellas, I wouldn't recommend taking your girlfriend or wife to see any Jackass movie. Unless, of course, it's her idea, in which case, by all means, feel free to ignore what I just said. So anyway, fast forward to 2010. Jackass 3D is released in theaters. And I actually am old enough to see it on the big screen. But I'm in college and have no access to a car with which to drive to the nearest movie theater. Therefore, I am unable to see it again. 0 for 3, as a dear friend of mine said as I was talking to them yesterday. Fast forward all the way to 2022. We get Jackass Forever. And we're in the midst of a global pandemic, in which case it was so severe that people actually had to risk losing friends, family, or even getting sick to go out to do anything, including going to a movie theater. Yes, 2 years into the pandemic and it was still a problem. So, the first 4 Jackass movies I was unable to see on the big screen, which leads me to yesterday, and subsequently today because I'm talking about it. I was not letting history repeat itself for a 5th time. It took me 25 years, nearly 25 years, to finally see a Jackass film on the big screen. And oh my God, I needed to see this so badly. As I was watching this movie, I could feel like my younger self cheering on, yes, I'm finally seeing this on the big screen. Oh my God. I mean, listen, I don't even know where to start with this. I mean, listen, if you know what Jackass is, and the towel just fell behind me again. This is gonna continue to be a problem for the remainder of Pride Month, isn't it? Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? There. Now I'm not actually sitting on it, at least. Now then, where was I? Right. Talking about listen, I'm sure pretty much anyone who's ever been on the internet or has had that one friend that was into really stupid but also really funny stuff knows what Jackass is. As dumb as it is to see people, get hurt and laugh at that, there's a reason why it has lasting power. It just works. And major shout outs to Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Chris Pontius, Dave England, Preston Lacey, Wee Man. Hold on. Did I really forget? And Danger Aaron. Right, Danger Aaron. Because for nearly 25 years, those guys were the gold standard, are the gold, they are. They will be loved and forever, they will forever be loved and remembered for what they did. it is actually kind of sad in terms of the fact that, Bam Margera, for all the work he did, really wasn't credited in this movie. And also, I can't really talk anymore about this without first saying, some words about the late and forever great Ryan Dunn. In this movie, Steve-O mentioned how, he's had a lot of great moments, but he would never consider himself the quote-unquote MVP of a film. For Jackass Forever, Steve-O would give that to Danger Aaron. But for Jackass 3D, he gave it to Ryan Dunn. And because I would say that for me, Jackass 3D is probably the best for a lot of reasons, including the fact that, it was Steve-O when he had been when he was Steve-O's first Jackass movie completely sober. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg for why Jackass 3D was such a great film, at least for me. But man, seeing all those old clips, and they showed a lot of the best. Like, when they say it was the best and last, they were not kidding. Believe me when I tell you, in my life, I've seen, especially the first 3 Jackass movies, for sure, over, again, almost 25 years. And man, did they get the best. I mean, I want to say what they are, but that would also be spoiling the film for you guys. And I don't know if I want to do that. I also need to point out to the newer cast members that appeared since Jackass Forever. So major shout outs to Rachel Wolfson, Jasper Dolphin, Dark Shark, Poopsies. Yes, that's what he goes by in the movie, Poopsies. And Zach Holmes. The young generation and the old generation coming together to make something, truly, truly hilarious and memorable and just good old-fashioned fun. I mean, the movie starts up. I mean, there are some things I can say, but the movie starts. I mean, here's the thing. I would say up until now, the best opening for me, and they've had a lot of really great openings, because the first movie with the shopping carts, like that orchestral music in the background. The second movie is the running of the bulls with Estacio Del Oro and playing in the background. Jackass 3D for me was the best. I mean, you got Twisted Sisters, the kids are back. But this one, I mean, come on, man. Bonnie Tyler's holding out for a hero. I mean, listen, I know the word hero, it can be tossed around a lot, absolutely. But, for a lot of people of my generation, that's what these people are. They're heroes, man. Forever and ever, and a day. So, yeah. I mean, they start off with a clip that was never meant to be aired on TV. That we waited 20... There are clips they never showed on TV. Some for very obvious reasons, such as the fact that some of it was imitatable. Which, again, at the end of... Which, by the way, and they say this at the beginning and end of every Jackass movie, please don't do any of those things at home. Please don't. They were, in the Jackass movies, they were done by professionals. And you can argue that even they weren't professionals. So don't do any of those things at home, please. Again, if for whatever reason you're going to be taking a kid to see this film, or any Jackass film, if they ever bring them back to theaters, don't do it, please. Just don't. You can watch, you can look, you can laugh, but don't ever imitate it. Because you're not those guys. No one can ever be those guys. outside of the fact that watching people humiliate themselves and getting hurt is just hilariously funny, the main reason why Jackass always worked, as I've gotten older and I've noticed this, it's the fact that, for what the Jackass guys are, Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Pontius, Wee Man, Dave England, Danger Aaron, Preston Lacey, and, back in the day, Bam Margera, Ryan Dunn, and now Rachel Wolfson, Jasper Dolphin, Dark Shark Poopsies, and Zach Holmes. There's a warmth to these guys. And girl, Rachel Wolfson. Like, you see them without just seeing them, you just see them and you think, those people are interesting. I want to see more. I want to know more about them. Like what do they like? What do they not like? I want to watch them more. That's always been like my big criteria when it came to something that, I like to watch, or someone I like to watch and or listen to. Like, I take one look and I feel that's interesting. And I mean, listen, you can say that people getting hurt really isn't that inventive or imaginative, but you know what? It's not boring. I'll definitely always find it interesting and funny. Seriously, like, I was laughing so hard throughout the majority of this film that for the rest of the day, because I saw the film at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I had a headache for the entirety of the rest of the day. Like, I felt completely, like, drained emotionally, in a good way. Just because I was laughing so hard. And also, I was the only person in the theater, which means I could laugh as loud as I wanted, and it was awesome. But if I did have one, actually, there's two things I do kind of regret. Two things. The first is, while it was awesome that I was by myself in the theater, I'll be honest, I kind of wish I was surrounded by a bunch of Jackass fans, because that would have been awesome. And, I mean, listen, I'm pretty sure anyone who's ever watched any of the Jackass movies has the exact same problem that I have and virtually everybody else has. It's that it's a movie. And all movies have to come to an end. So, as sad as, that, I mean, listen, no matter what happens, if this truly is the very last Jackass film we'll ever get, you know what? I'm glad I finally got to see one in the theaters. And, maybe somewhere down the line, they'll release the other ones in the theaters too, and that'll be awesome. But man, when I tell you that, if this is the final Jackass film we ever get, good Lord, did they end this on a high note. A very high note. I mean, listen, this movie's great. I personally had a lot of fun, and I can guarantee you, if you're a Jackass fan, you're going to love this movie too. But let's compass what this is. This isn't going to win any major awards. I mean, actually, what is the score of Rotten Tomatoes right now? Pretty sure. I mean, last time I looked at Rotten Tomatoes, that's like a 90 or something. Oh, cool, 86% of Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty good, actually. 86 is pretty good. So, yeah, this is about as high of a note as you'd ever want for a film franchise like this to end on. And I am extremely happy that I got, because, listen, again, this was the best and the last. They delivered on that tenfold. But again, this movie isn't going to win any awards come award season. It's not going to have the critical acclaim like, say, movies like The Sheep Detectives that I saw earlier this year, or, you know, movies like, or anime movies like Go and Hoppers and, you know, Toy Story 5. It's not going to have that critical acclaim. And that's fine. You know, that's not what these movies were made to do. Well, they may not get the critical acclaim, but the Jackass guys will always have fans. And I will always be a fan myself. So, to Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Chris Pontius, Wee Man, Dave England, Danger Aaron McGaney, Preston Lacey, Rachel Wolfson, Jasper Dolphin, Dark Shark, Poopsie, Zach Holmes, and Bam Margera and the late great Ryan Dunn. Rest in peace, Ryan Dunn. Thank you for all you did. You know, thank you for everything. For all you've done for people of my generation. And you know what? It's okay to laugh. Granted, you kind of have to have a sick, twisted human to do it in this case, but you know what? It's still okay in my book. Thank you. This movie's great. Just go see it. I will also say, though, they brought some bits back from the other, because again, this is the best things they ever did. There are definitely moments of like, they brought that back. This is among the best. This is so cool. Like, just go see the movie. Just go see the movie, please. Before I wind up spoiling anything. I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, find me on social media. As always, after helping these videos, you guys watch the show. Thank you for the wonderful Friday. Remember, you guys want to talk to us, we can let you back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.